Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome again. On today's video, we are going to be doing a quick comparison with PICO 4 in virtual desktop version 1.24.1 and the new version that or the new update that just came out today, December the 9th or the 9th of December. So we are here pretty much about 2 p.m. with scattered clouds in Miami International. We are on Godlight mode, native resolution of Godlight mode, and on Microsoft Flight Simulator I am using DLSS quality mode. And right now on the runway we are pretty much seeing about 29 frames per second, a latency of about 81, 82. Game latency, that's something that I guess is not gonna change, I'm assuming, between the updates, but it's about 43, 44 milliseconds. And then we have an encoding latency of 11 milliseconds. The encoding is one of the things that I gotta pay attention for as far as virtual desktop. And see if there's any improvement on that side. Not so much on the network latency. Right now I'm using Ethernet tether. As you can see, we don't have any wireless signal, if you will, because I have it turned off for this testing here. Decoding, I guess that's depending on PICO 4. Maybe we're gonna see some difference on the decoding as well, because basically the virtual desktop is actually running on the PICO 4. That's why you have to install, and that's what we are going to update eventually here. So we are not going to be taking off. We're just going to be doing this quick comparison here and see if we see any difference. So I think we are getting a stable 29, 30 frames per second. When we turn our head, of course, some stuff has to pop up, has to be rendered, and then you might see some drops in the frames per second, but they should come back up about 28, 29 or 30 frames per second. So we are going to be now jumping into the A320 Phoenix A320 right here on the same runway, same time, and we'll see if we see any difference. Alright, so here we are on the A320, Phoenix A320, and we are getting about the same 28, 29, 30 frames per second. Here we can see some drops, but that's because of the popping when you turn your head around. Looking at the overhead here, everything looks pretty clear, pretty good. Right. You're gonna see those shimmering there on the runway, and that's because of the resolution, because when you're doing TLSS, everything is just rendered at a lower resolution, and then it is upscale to a higher resolution. So we're not gonna make any change on that side. I might try it. I might do another video after I upgrade virtual desktop, just testing to see how it looks and how many frames we get, or performance as far as the PICO 4 update. And I'll set the graphic settings to just use TAA instead of DLSS and see if we see any difference. But right around here I am actually getting about the same frames per second that I was getting with the Vision Jet G2, surprisingly enough. That kind of says a lot about how optimized the Phoenix simulation is, the Phoenix A320 is. So we're getting about the same thing. And just if I haven't done it already, I am going to display somewhere in the screen here the release notes for the virtual desktop update. Once probably at the beginning of the video, and also once we switch over to the new version here. Again, we are running on the old version 1.24.1 right now, and this is the frames that we're getting so far. So far so good. Okay. So again, we have about 80 milliseconds and some of latency, overall latency. Game latency, it's about the same. I'm not sure. I highly doubt that's going to change. That depends on my computer specs. We have encoding 11 milliseconds. It's on yellow. Networking latency, again, that one is kind of stable because of the fact that we're using Ethernet USB. Sorry, we're using USB tethered right now, and we have a decoding latency of 24-25 milliseconds. Right, we gotta pay attention to the other settings such as slice encoding, which I believe that one is no longer in the new version, and if it is, it's probably not enabled. Then we got the video buffering, that one is turned off. Auto bit rate is also turned off. PC Ethernet, yes, because my PC is connected to the Ethernet network, and then Space War or that's basically the motion smoothing implementation. That one is disabled right now. Right. So let's go ahead and jump into the Boeing 737, the PNDG 737-800 right here on this runway. Same time, same weather settings, and let's see what we get here. Alright, so here we are on the PNDG 737. The plane is golden dark, so let's go ahead and bring it up to live here so we can do a proper comparison. So we're just going to do taxi preset here. Completely ignore those daughters there. That's just expected, I guess. When I started the plane here. Alright, we just gotta wait for the displays to come to life. But just about here, we are seeing about the same latency, 29, 30. Sometimes 31 frames per second. We see a latency, overall latency of about the same, 79, 80 milliseconds. I'm not sure if it was higher than that with the Vision Jet G2, but yeah. Then we got a game latency that's pretty much staying around the same, if you will. We have an encoding latency, which is also around the same, 11 milliseconds, 10, 11 milliseconds, if you will. Network latency has remained about the same, and decoding has also remained about the same, 23, 24, 25 milliseconds. And then the rest of the settings and presets here are pretty much the same. Right, and just, let me go ahead and show you my graphic settings. So I am on DLS quality, but if I remove this is the resolution that virtual desktop it's basically signaling, or if SteamVR is signaling pretty much to Microsoft Flight Simulator. So we're doing via DLSS quality because that's pretty high of a resolution for my computer here. Right. And the plane wants to take off. Set the parking brake here. It's gonna wait for the displays. There you go. And there we got the displays already alive. And we can see they're about the same performance that we were getting with the Vision Jet, with the A320 Phoenix, or by Phoenix. 29, 30 frames per second, and the rest kind of around the same, if you will. Alright, so I think that's enough of a test on the old Virtual Desktop 124.1. So now the next test that we're gonna do it with a new version of Virtual Desktop. Alright, so I'll see you in a bit. Alright, I just wanted to show you here the update process. It's already kicking in, 13% through. All I had to do was just to kind of hover over this side here where it was showing me the update icon. And then as soon as I hover over it, he showed me a button there to just click on that I believe read update pretty much. And that's pretty much about it. So I believe once we update virtual desktop on the PICO 4, then this is supposed to trigger an update on my desktop, if I'm not mistaken, on the virtual desktop stream client. I'm not sure if this is gonna give me release notes here, but again, I'm gonna display that release notes based on what was shared on the virtual desktop Discord. Looks like we are basically set. Okay, so I confirm you that the version of the streaming app was pretty much the same, 124.1, 1.24.1 pretty much. So I'm gonna go ahead and launch virtual desktop here after updating it within PICO 4, and we'll see if that's gonna trigger an update too on the client. Alright, so you can see there, updating streamer. This may take a few minutes. Apparently it is, yep, installing update virtual desktop streamer. Let's give it some time here. Looks like it finished. Alright, so we are on 1.25.6 already. Let's go ahead and take a look at the settings here and see what may have changed already, especially on a streaming. Here, probably not so much change. This is more about the virtual desktop here environment. But let's go to the streaming. This is what we are concerned of. Okay, so my settings here remain the same. Basically, synchronous space war still disabled. Video buffering still disabled. Center to play, that's the same. Track controllers increase video. Pretty much about the same. We no longer see the slice video encoding anymore, and I believe that's because that's the default. Alright, so here we are again. I have already turned off Wi-Fi, which I can show you here. As you can see there, wireless is already disconnected, so we are pretty much on USB tether only. So let's go ahead and launch or spawn the plane here. We're gonna do the Vision Jet G2 first. Pretty much we're gonna follow the same order that we followed before. Let's see how much of a significant, I'm gonna even use the same library that I used. Let's see how much of a significant performance increase we get now, if any, pretty much. We might see about the same. I got my expectations set realistically here. Okay, let's wait for everything to kind of settle here, if you will. Oh my lord. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing here? 35 frames per second? 36 frames per second? What? Game latency has even gone down to 30 milliseconds. How is that even possible? Encoding 10, 11 millisecond. Networking latency about the same. Decoding, it's lower. At least lower than the PNDG and the Phoenix. I don't recall what it was on the Vision Jet with version 124.1, but clearly we're getting about what, 6 frames per second? Are you kidding me now? Are you kidding me now? Now latency is about the same, a little bit, probably a little bit higher, but dude, 6 frames per second. Is this for real? Is this for real now? Are you kidding me? Silky smooth. Silky smooth. No, I just can't believe this. I just can't believe this. How did they get this? kind of improvement. Are you kidding me now? No, man, it's kind of hard for me to believe what I'm seeing right now. You might be just thinking, oh, he just overreacting, like what 6 frames per second is nothing. Trust me when I tell you this. On Microsoft Flight Simulator, you basically gotta get whatever you gotta get as far as frames per second. I mean, if you can gain 3 frames per second, that can make a dramatic difference. Because this is a slow-paced type of simulator, if you will. And 6 frames per second, it's just tremendous. As far as Microsoft Flight Simulator, look, everything looks silky smooth. Are you freaking kidding me, bro? Let's go out. Dude, I cannot believe what I'm seeing now. I cannot believe it. So let's go out. We're going to jump back in with the Phoenix A320. Same time, same weather. And let's just see what we get. Because again, what did they do? Right. Let's wait for everything to kind of settle here. Bro, are you freaking kidding me now? Are you freaking kidding me now? There's no freaking way. Bro, there's no freaking way. Are you seeing those frames? Of course, when I'm moving my head, of course, things are going to pop up, and then we just gotta wait for frames to just kind of catch up again. But dude, I am getting 40 frames per second on the Phoenix A320. About almost 40 frames per second. 38, 40, 38, 37 sometimes. Look at the game latency. The game latency went down for about 10 or 11 milliseconds. And that actually gave us probably the performance that we're seeing here. Are you freaking kidding me? I cannot believe this. I just can't believe it. How did they get this sort of improvement here? Oh my word. I cannot believe my eye. Look at those frames. 40 frames per second on the Phoenix. So we're talking about 10 frames per second more than we were getting with version 124.1. Are you freaking kidding me now? Are you freaking kidding me now? And the picture quality looks identical. Of course, when I, pan my head, move my head around, we gotta wait for things to kind of pop up and catch up again. But if I stay steady here, look, 38 frames per second. Are you freaking kidding me, bro? Let's go try with the PNG 737. Right, kind of wait for things to settle, if you will. All right. Oh my lord. Looks like we're getting about the same here. Let's go ahead and load the taxi. Stay here. Again, this plane is going to take a while to basically initialize the displays, if you will. All right, there you go. All right, waiting for everything to kind of start here. But just take a look at the game latency. The game latency has gone down about 20 some percent. We just staying around 28, 29 game latency. I'm not really sure what they did, to be quite honest with you, but we are getting about 40 frames per second, which is about 10 frames per second more than I was getting before with update 124.1. So what they did was, it's basically nothing short of impressive, if you will. Right, so anyway, we're gonna just wait for the displays here to come up to life, and then we're gonna go to the settings of Microsoft Flight Simulator, kind of switch over to TAA and take a look at the resolution that's being rendered. Just to be sure it's identical, but to me it looks pretty much the same, so I don't believe there's any changes as far as resolution is concerned. But yeah, just looking at the game latency, it's pretty much way lower. I'm talking about almost 30 frames, almost 30% less game latency than what we were getting before. That's incredible, man. That is incredible to say the least. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you go ahead and update your PICO 4 virtual desktop application, because you know the difference so far has been night and day as far as performance is concerned. All right, so we got the displays up, and if I just kind of stay steady here, let's see. We might still have some stuff loading, if you will, in the background. But we're getting 37, 35, 36, 37 frames per second on the PNDG 737. Before we were getting about 28, 29 frames per second. So we're talking about almost 10 frames per second more on the PNDG 737, which is about the same that we've been seeing with the other planes. So the difference has been dramatic as far as performance is concerned. So let's go ahead and launch the settings here, and let's take a look at what's being sent. Pretty much the same, 3240 by 3240. So yeah, about the same pretty much. Let's go back. We're gonna discard because we haven't changed anything. And what I am going to do now is I am going to launch Task Manager. So if you give me 1 second here, I'll be right back. So let's just launch Task Manager here. We are going to kind of bring it about here, and see if I can just move it about here. And let's see. Of course, we're gonna get a little bit less frames per second because of that I am overlaying now. But if we take a look, we are at 93, 90 some GPU utilization. So we're talking about what, 10% more GPU utilization, and that explains why we're seeing more frames per second. Now it looks like virtual desktop is making use of the GPU more efficiently, if you will, and that's why we're seeing this performance. And we are pretty much on par. We are on par with what I get as far as frames per second and also GPU utilization with my HP River G2. So that kind of explains basically in a nutshell why we're getting this level of performance that we're getting right now with the new version of virtual desktop. And that is very impressive. Basically, congratulations to the developers of virtual desktop, to the team behind virtual desktop. They have done an amazing job so far, and I really hope they keep, you know, kind of iterating on this sort of improvement in the future, because I'd like to see actually the whole GPU being utilized here, 99%, which is probably going to give us about 5 more frames per second, if you will. I'm not sure if that's actually something they want to aim to, because usually it's good to sort of leave some headroom on the GPU utilization for other stuff. But so far, tremendous work from the virtual desktop team. I really do appreciate their efforts, and this is going to be a significant improvement for my experience here within Microsoft Flight Simulator, and potentially with other games that I usually play, such as Half-Life Alyx 2. Alright, so that's pretty much it for me. I really do appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.